Hey guys, Kalltorak here. Today, I am bringing you episode 1 of my new series, Will It Thorns. Every league, I will use this series to try out new concepts, ascendancies, and styles for Thorns. The goal of this series is to not only just learn more about the game, but to help provide feedback for GGG to help improve Thorns. Some of these builds I try may seem very obvious they will fail, and that's okay. The goal here is science and to provide video evidence of them failing. It's very clear that GGG doesn't want Thorns to just be a weird one-off build, but its own diverse playstyle that any ascendancy can use. Whether it's through their recent buffs to Thorns that enabled bleed and poison builds, to the many new support gems that greatly increased our map clear time and boss DPS. With the raw power gained from the Spirit Gem scavenge plating, which is literally where most of our Thorns comes from, and the many uniques directly targeted at Thorns, it is clear that GGG doesn't think of Thorns as some weird meme or a dead stat, but its own diverse playstyle that they want to invest into long term. Let me make this very clear. Thorns isn't just a meme. It really has potential to be a burrito with many different flavors. Builds like my Bira's Ignite Thorns, which doesn't use Thorns as the main source of damage, but it's still a major component in the build. In time, Thorns builds will dominate the meta, but it needs a lot more love. So that's what this series is for, learning the science of Thorns and having a silly ass time along the way. My community has already voted on what the next episode is, which will be a Poison Thorns Chalupa Monk. If you are interested in helping me decide what style of Thorns I am leveling after that, please like and subscribe, that way you'll be notified when I post the next poll. And if you are watching this video the day it came out, it's likely that I am streaming sometime today, starting the leveling journey of my Thorns Chalupa. Come hang out on YouTube or Twitch. Lastly, I'll be on the Still Sane podcast this Tuesday night, hosted by the fantastic Talkative Try. Make sure to tune in where we will talk about Thorns and how much we don't hate this game. For this first episode, I'll be showcasing Recoup Thorns on a Chronomancer. When I set out on this character, my original goal was a mana stacking Recoup Chronomancer using Lightning Thorns and Crackling Barrier. Dreamcore released a video the other day talking about the unique Cloak of Defiance. In the video, he talked about these different mana stacking techniques which sounded really cool. In the video, he doesn't talk about Chronomancer, but I decided I wanted to test out specifically the Rapid River. The rest of the Ascendancy is actually just really bad for Thorns, but I figured it would be a cool way to survive loads of incoming damage and to finally test Recoup on Thorns. My original thought process was, let's go some fun mana stacking Eldritch Battery build. Do a big mana Recoup defensive layer with Cloak of Defiance. Then, combined with Resonating Shield and Crackling Barrier, we get a really high Thorns count. Sounds really cool, right? But it's horrible, which I expected. Again, mana stacking is just bad. Energy Shield gain from Xeris doesn't convert to mana, so you're honestly really limited in how big your mana can get. We can't use Xeris in Thorns builds because of Crown of the Pale King anyways. I have an entire video dedicated to Crown of the Pale King soon. I think it's the biggest pain point for Thorns builds, but I'll discuss that in another video. It just felt impossible to get an impactful mana count. No matter what I stacked on my gear or how high I got my int, it was always bad. Let's just ignore all of this though and talk about Crackling Barrier. I knew going into this, Crackling Barrier would suck. Crackling Barrier requires a channel spell, which right now there aren't very many good channel spells. The best options are Incinerate and Resonating Shield. While both can work in a Recoup build, the main problem is Barbs can't go into either of them. Barbs is where a majority of our single target DPS comes from. So we invest all of this into mana stacking, but we can't use our main new support gem that's for our boss damage. What's even worse is the conversion rate. 25% of our mana as Thorns damage is horrible. Let's say I somehow pulled off a crazy insane mana count of 20,000. I would still have way less Thorns than my Warbringer, who is pushing 22,000 Thorns damage with Scavenge Plating stacks. So even in an Unreal scenario, where we can get a crazy high mana pool, the damage gained from this isn't enough to carry our boss DPS. Not even close. Not without Barbs or Crackling Barrier giving 100 to 200% more Thorns damage. There is hope for the future of mana stacking channeling Thorns builds. I'm hyped for the skill Cyclone. You guys know me as the Thorns guy, but my friends know me as the Cyclone guy. 99% of the time I am playing an ARPG, I am playing Cyclone. If PoE 2 had Cyclone when it came out, I may have never touched Thorns. Whenever Cyclone is added to the game, I imagine I am league starting a Cyclone Thorns build. Crackling Barrier fits perfectly with a skill like Cyclone. Feedback time. I think a good change here would be you get a buff for a duration after retaliating with Thorns while using a channeled skill. Similar to how Scavenge Plating works, you get a duration buff after breaking armor. So, if I had Crackling Barrier and Resonating Shield, if at any point an enemy hits me and I reflect Thorns back at them, I would get a buff that lasts 6 to 10 seconds that increases my Thorn damage by 25% to 100%. You could also make this a stacking buff, which would encourage taking multiple hits in a row. Then, after this is triggered, I could swap back to my single target setup that uses Barbs while keeping the buff. Crackling Barrier needs some serious love. I hope GGG sees this and makes some adjustments here. Also, there's the possibility of adding Barbs to channeled AoE skills. This would be nice especially for Cyclone, but I kind of understand why GGG didn't. So yeah, I gave up on mana stacking Thorns really fast. After this, I swapped back to the exact same style I play on my Warbringer, but with life recoup instead of leech. During the campaign, this was amazing. Recoup is just really strong early on in general. The damage was honestly pretty good. Not as good as the Warbringer though. But the defenses didn't feel as good. Instant leech is just a lot better than Recoup, and it took way less investment for leech than it did Recoup. During leveling, sure, Recoup was god tier, but once I hit red maps, I just didn't have enough life on my own to survive big hits. I was dying so damn much, and everything I tried to fix it was just neutering my damage. Everything you're seeing in this video is Waystone 15s, but with no Boss Atlas passives. For the Warbringer, leech style is honestly very few points in defensives in comparison. Most of your defensive points end up in block anyways, which ends up as damage via lay siege and offensive stance. Pure life recoup just felt bad, like really bad, to the point that I was going to put a big stamp of never do this build for endgame. I had given up, but that's when I remembered a video from Lazy Exile where they did a recoup build on a ritualist. Lazy uses Sacrosanctum, which gives you more life recoup, but also your life recoup applies to energy shield. My gear was all armor, so I invested the last of my currency into an energy shield setup and went into maps with the new chess piece. It felt awesome. Like, as good as the Warbringer with Turtle Charm. I've only died once since I put it on, and it's because I stood in 30 different bombs and a corpse explosion. And I was just doing this on purpose to see if I would live. This is all without using the amulet Jade of Defiance, which is busted for recoup builds. Just way out of my price range. Also, I don't have any recoup jewels or energy shield jewels, which would make me even tankier. This is all on a budget, but walking through Waystone level 16s, I am beef. Unfortunately though, this damage is horrible, like oh my god. I had to invest basically everything I could into defenses to make Recoup work better than the Leech Warbringer. Now I'm missing like 3 levels of Scavenge Plating, which would be a very big DPS increase. But it would still put me far below the Warbringer's DPS, who is struggling to kill +4 Arbiter right now. All of this setup just to be slightly more tanky than my Warbringer. This is a big L considering all the damage I've lost. Will Jade of Defiance and 3 more levels of Scavenge Plating fix this? I don't think so. Not completely. One of the major problems with Thorns builds right now is how unique dependent they are. You are at minimum required to use 2 uniques that take up very important slots, helmets and boots. Plus, we are also using the Recoup unique chest. if we add on Jade of Defiance, maybe we can give up some of the energy shield nodes to get more of our damage back, but we're probably going to have to give up some of our Lightning Thorns runes to get more of our resistance back. Plus, we actually lose energy shield from taking off our necklace. So how's the build? It's okay. I'm clearing Waystone 15s, and I'm not dying, which is cool, but it's very slow. Thorns Chronomancer has some serious potential long-term, with changes to mana stacking allowing us to get higher mana pool, and a buff to Crackling Barrier removing its friction. I do believe that Recoup Lightning Thorns has some serious potential as well as on Stormweaver. As it stands right now though, the rest of the Ascendancy just isn't worth it for Thorns. Only do this if you are dead set on being a Time Lord Thorns boy. So if you are one of those really weird people like me, there will be a Mobalytics down below. If you are enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Apologies to Darth Microtransaction, we once again ran out of time. Take care, boys. See you in the next one.